It has been that kind of day, y'all. It hasn't been a bad day because I refuse to accept that. That's reserved for very special events. But yeah, it's been a day. It's been a week. Now, the good news, I think I told y'all this the other night. I have been feeling a whole lot better. Sorry. I don't know why I hit broadcast. I really wasn't ready, but I had been feeling a lot better. But I got really stressed out yesterday for a multitude of reasons, and then I did not sleep last night. And I had to tell you, I was really mad. I'm laying there like swearing under my breath, like this is BS. And my legs, it's always my legs. My legs were hurting so bad. But I had to like, okay, wait a minute. First of all, healing is not linear. Second of all, there is no way that all of this is going to go away in a week. Thirdly, I did have a third point, but I don't remember what it was. But it was just a really rough day yesterday. And today wasn't a heck of a lot better, but that's life. What the hell are you going to do? Everybody has rough days. But let's talk about how to cope with the emotional impact of chronic pain because, y'all, this shit is overwhelming. It's just so much for me not cussing. That didn't last very long, did it? But it is overwhelming. According to Psychology Today, about 100 million Americans deal with chronic pain. Now, there's no hard data regarding suicide rates. However, sufferers are believed to commit suicide at twice the rate of the healthy population. I always hesitate saying that because I don't think most people are as healthy as they like to think they are. You just don't know what your issues are yet. And I say that because most of us don't take care of ourselves. Anyway, dealing with chronic pain, it's really not just the physical. The physical, I don't want to say it's easy to deal with, but it's kind of easy to put the physical at the back of your mind unless it's a really, really challenging day. But the emotional stuff, it's devastating. This stuff it can drag you to the bottom so quickly if you allow it to. The ubiquitous they, I have no idea how they would measure this, but I'm assuming that there's some way because the ubiquitous they like to say that a good day for somebody like me is like you having the flu body aches. Well, how productive were you? How cheerful were you the last time that you had the flu? Probably not very. But I live like that. You get used to a certain level of this. But my whole life is it's a balancing act, and it's literally the straw that broke the camel's back. The smallest thing can shove me right over. Like yesterday, it was an emotionally stressful day. I had a lot of pressure at work. I had a lot of pressure at work. I've got some major deadlines, and they're all, of course, pretty much not quite at the same time, but within a few days of each other. So that's been really difficult. And I'm getting pressure from what they say about it all rolls downhill. Well, guess who's at the bottom of the hill? So I'm getting a lot of pressure, and it flared me terribly last night. Excuse me. Now, flares, fibromyalgia flares. The best description I've ever heard is that it's a full body migraine. Now, if you've never had a migraine, that doesn't mean anything to you. But I get extremely light and smell and sound sensitive. It gets to the point I wear leggings pretty much constantly because it's as close as I can come to wearing pajamas out of the house. And you can dress them up, you can dress them down. They look great with heels, they look great with flats. I am a leggings girl because they are so comfortable and they always move with me. They don't ever constrict. But sometimes if I'm really flaring, my leggings will drive me crazy. Sometimes it's the seam down the inner leg, but sometimes it's literally just the pressure. I mean, it's a super lightweight fabric, but sometimes just the pressure of that on my skin is enough to drive me freaking crazy. And I know this sounds nuts, but it really gets to the point where my hair hurts. What? Okay, not technically my hair, but I will get to where my nerves are so hypersensitive that when I turn my head, I can feel my hair moving on my scalp. And if you've never experienced that, and I don't mean just like part of it, I mean my whole head, I can feel it. It's not painful, but it's really, really weird and it's uncomfortable. And it's unsettling because it's just not a normal thing. So if you're dealing with this, You know what? You're entitled. You are so entitled to be pissed off. You're entitled to grieve, but you can't live there. It's not going to serve your purpose. You need to be aware. And this is hard for me on high pain days, even though I know this. In fact, I just talked to my mentor about this yesterday, which, by the way, complete side note, I have the most freaking amazing mentor. I love him to death. But anyway, what you get out there is what you put back. So how the hell, what the hell are you supposed to do on a high pain day? Well, first, you need to find some positive influences. Get some good books. You're a Badass by Jen Sincero is one of my favorite books. In fact, I should reread that. Life's Golden Ticket by Brendon Burchard. It's a great introduction to personal development, personal growth, whatever the hell you want to call it. But it's a pretty simple read. It's pretty lighthearted, but it has a good message. 15 Irrefutable Laws of Growth by John C. Maxwell is my favorite book right now. I am so deeply immersed in this book. I have a notebook like this thick of notes I've taken, and I'm only on chapter 10. The body keeps the score. If you're dealing with health issues, that, especially if you have a background of emotional trauma, that book is freaking amazing. It really had a huge impact on me, but a word of caution. It is not an easy read. It's very heavy. He goes into a lot of trauma stories from his clients and his patients. And let me tell you, some of that shit, I listened to it and it's just horrifying and fascinating at the same time. And I would sit there and think, my gosh, what do I have to complain about? Look what these people have been through. A book called One Shot, One Life. My mentor wrote that actually. And that's an excellent book on kind of getting your shit together. The Bible is always a good resource if you need to be cheered up. You can find great podcasts. Chalene Johnson, a woman named Dr. B, Stephanie Lynn Coaching, Brendon Burchard, YouTube. One of my favorite channels is called Above Inspiration. It's a religious channel. Trent Shelton, Psych to Go. Stephanie Lynn Coaching also does YouTube. I really like her a lot. You need to develop healthy habits. You need to exercise. Now, I know if you're the one dealing with the health issues, I know exactly what you're thinking because you're thinking what I would have thought before I started exercising. But I'll tell you this. Every single person, which sadly is not very many, but every single person that I have convinced to start exercising has come back to me and said, oh my gosh, you were right. I know I'm right because I've been there. Look, I'm not telling you to get up and do insanity. Okay. In fact, I don't recommend that. But just start. Go for a walk. Do some yoga. Do some Tai Chi. Do something. You have to move. You have to move. It has both physical and emotional benefits. From a physical perspective, the days that I want to move the least are the days it's most important for me to do something because it's the only thing that I have found that's going to loosen up my body. And it does it a hell of a lot better than any drug and without the negative side effects. And of course, the emotional benefits, look, on a really crappy day when I just feel like crawling back into bed and pulling the covers over my head. But you know what? I have a life. I can't do that. That's not an option. Even on really bad days, sometimes that's not an option. I have all these deadlines to deal with. I can't just do that. But when I can work out and I can start my day on that positive of a note before I have to tackle a bunch of really heavy stuff at work, that completely resets my attitude and my mood. And I go from, oh my God, how am I going to do this to hell yeah, let's get this shit done. Let's do it. I will admit that peters out fairly quickly because I don't have the energy. But you know what? I would rather start my day with that attitude than feeling sorry for myself because I don't feel good. You need to meditate. Now, this is something I'm really, really up and down with. I am either solid about meditation or I don't do it at all. And right now, I'm not doing it at all. And I need to. But there's so many different kinds of meditation out there. There's mantra meditations, there's guided meditations, breathing meditations, walking meditations. Find what works for you. You might there might be like, for me, I can do some guided meditations, but some of them get just too woo-woo for me. But you know what? You might love the ones that I'm like, oh, no, absolutely not. And to you, they might be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm so relaxed. Try different things. You guys, you have the internet at your fingertips. tips. There's no excuse not to try different modalities. Just search, give something a try. Don't just do it once. Don't do one and done. That's not enough. You're not giving it a fair chance. But try something a few times. See how it makes you feel. If you don't like it, if it just doesn't click, like the really woo-woo stuff doesn't click for me. So I moved on. I've started doing a lot of guided Christian meditations. I got to say, I really like those, but that's not for everybody. It doesn't have to be for you. Find what works for you. You need to journal. You need to journal. This is such a healthy way to deal with your negative emotions. And if you're dealing with chronic pain, if you're dealing with a lot of health issues, you got a lot of negative emotions you've got to process. A journal is, in my very humble opinion, is cheap therapy. It's very cheap therapy. And on a really challenging day, I will just pour it all out. And I hate the world. And this sucks. And that person's a bitch. And I hate them. And I hate that. And work sucks. And the whole world is against me, which I know is not true. But sometimes you get in those moods. And I'll get all that off my chest. And what I really like to do, especially on a challenging day like that, I like to finish my journal with 3 things that I'm grateful for. Why? Well, I've just gotten all that off my chest, which is great. It's going to make it easier for me to lay down and relax. But now it's fresh in my mind. And if I'm not careful, I'm the kind of person who will start to ruminate and I'll easily go down the trail. So I like to write down 3 things that I'm grateful for because it resets my mind and it reminds me to focus on things that I am grateful for. And it reminds me to remember, that wasn't a good sentence, but you get my point. It reminds me that, what? Yeah, sometimes things are tough, but things are tough for everybody sometimes. And all in all, I'm really blessed. And I know that. Which brings me excellently to my next point, gratitude. You need to be grateful. You need to be grateful. I struggle with body image. I have a lot of health issues. My body reflects that. I don't like it. I don't. But you know what? I can't hate my body. You know why? Because I'm really damn grateful for all the cool things that my body allows me to do. My body allows me to get up and dance every day. Dancing makes me happy. It really frees my spirit. It almost always really loosens my body. And you know what? When it doesn't, because of the kind of attitude I have and the kind of person that I am, 99% of the time when I'm staggering around looking like a drunk giraffe, I just laugh at myself. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for I can smell flowers. I'm grateful that I can catch. I had another spider in here today that I can catch spiders and turn them loose outside. My body allows me to do all of those things. My body allows me to hug my loved ones. Your body does cool things for you. Don't ever hate your body. You need to celebrate your wins. Look, if it's a really rough day and you're racked with pain and you've been pretty much curled in a ball all day, well, did you get up and brush your teeth? You know what? That's a win. You want to know why that's a win? Because I have a girlfriend who's a dental hygienist. This is so gross. But years ago, I was in getting my teeth cleaned and I was talking to her and I was like, Sue, maybe I should do this. And she started to laugh. She's like, no, you couldn't do this. And I got really offended. What do you mean I couldn't do this? Why couldn't I do this? And she said, because I know how you are about dental hygiene. And there are a lot of very prominent people in our community. Of course, she wasn't going to tell me who. I didn't want to know, but she wouldn't have told me even if I'd asked. But there is a lot of prominent people in my community, which means it probably happens in every community, who choose not to brush their teeth ever. So if you're having a really shit day and you got up and brushed your teeth, you better celebrate that at night because that puts you ahead of some people who did not make that choice. Do you deal with pain and you manage to take a day off from work without racking yourself with guilt? That's a tremendous win. I'll be honest, that one's really hard for me. I had gotten pretty good about it, but then management changed at work and I'm just not, in fairness, I don't know if it's the new management. It's probably me because it's something I'm really sensitive about. And that's really common. I know that's really common, but anyway, celebrate your win. Did you get up and did you change out of what you slept in? Even if all you did was change into some ratty sweats and made it to the couch, that's a win. You've got to be grateful for that. You got to celebrate that at the end of your day. For me, it's things like dressing nicely, putting on my face. And it makes me feel better. Is it shallow? Probably. Do I care? Nope. You know why I don't care? Because it makes me feel better. And if you want to judge me for that, That's your problem. I had somebody accuse me once, and it was a pretty justified accusation. I'll own that. But he made a comment to me, this was years ago, about me being high maintenance. And I said, well, okay, that's fair. But what you see as high maintenance, I see as caring enough about myself to put forth an effort because I went through a lot of years where I didn't give a damn what I looked like. I made zero effort with my appearance. Well, how do you think that worked out for my life? It didn't work out very well. That's part of why I'm in the condition that I'm in now. If you're dealing with a lot of pain, if you're dealing with chronic illness, you need to learn to let things go. Stop beating yourself up. I know this is easier said than done, but quit beating yourself up over the things that you cannot do. Look, this this lie that we were told that you can do it all. No, you can't. That is such a load of crap. Whoever told you that lied to your face. You cannot. Healthy people cannot do it all. Nobody can do it all. So you know what? Don't beat yourself up over it. Pick the things that you can do. Be grateful for them and do it to the best of your ability, even if it's not the best that you've ever done at it. Even if you were able to do it a lot better yesterday, just try to do the best that you can today. And then be grateful for that. You know what else you need to let go of? Negative people. Bye, Felicia. I have a really good litmus test for other people. If you don't lift me up, I don't have the time, energy, or patience for your crap. I just don't. Is that bitchy? I don't think so, but I don't really care if it is because I can't afford to give my power away to other people. Finally, if you're having to deal with all this, you've got to remember, you got to be kind to yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. And you know what else? You have to be kind to others too, even when they don't deserve it. Because you know what? The people who don't deserve it, they need it the most. They truly do. Now, I'm not telling you have to kiss their ass. I'm not telling you that by any stretch, but you don't need to be hateful. You need to remember this too shall pass. Tomorrow really is another day. And I'll tell you, I've been in deep, long flares where I just literally can't see any light at all at the end of the tunnel. And it's so easy to get consumed by that. But I try really hard to remember that, you know what? Tomorrow will probably be better. And if tomorrow's not better, then there's always the next day. But you got to remember this is going to pass. I don't care. I've had some flares that have been pretty damn long and pretty damn miserable, but they do pass eventually. I do get a break eventually. You have to hang your hat on that. That's what you need to focus on when you're just slogging through the gutter and you're just miserable and you're mad at the world. I get that. I still fall into that. I'm not perfect. I'm only human. This shit is overwhelming. It's consuming. But I refuse to let it beat me. And lastly, you need to know, you need to understand you are not your illness. Don't allow your diagnosis to become your identity. Now, I tell y'all, that's hard. And I have said this for a long time, but it wasn't until, I don't know, it's probably 2 or 3 years ago. I had a horrifying realization when my mentor asked me one day, what would your life be like if you were healthy? I froze. I didn't know what to say. And I finally said, I don't know. And that's when I realized that in spite of my efforts and in spite of all of my talk, I had let this crap become my identity. Well, you know what? I've been fighting back ever since. And has it been easy? Absolutely not. But what's my alternative? To give in? I'm just not that kind of, I used to be that kind of person. And guess what? It didn't get me anywhere. You can't let this shit run your life. Of course, it's going to have a tremendous impact. Absolutely. There's no way around that. Look, you can't always control what's going on. I'm weather sensitive. I certainly can't control the weather. I'm stress sensitive. I flared up so bad last night that I couldn't sleep because I let the stress get to me. I let other people get to me. But None of that is my identity. I'm so much more than my illness. I'm so much more than this flared up mess that I was last night. And I refuse. I don't know how you feel about it, but I refuse to accept that. Life is too short. Everybody has their challenges. If you have health issues, they're just a little bit different than other people's, but it's up to you to make the best of your situation. It really, I know I say that all the time, but it's the truth. No one else can do this for you. You have to get a grip on your attitude. So anyway, this information, by the way, these are my tips. This is how I cope. This is how I get through this. You know, honestly, these videos help me get through this a lot because when I get feedback from people, oh my gosh, when you said X, Y, or Z, that really touched my heart. It really helped me adjust how I view my health situation. Or even if they just say, thanks, I needed that message. Y'all, that means the world to me. Holy crap, now I'm gonna cry. So on that note, I don't know why the hell I'm gonna cry about that, but that's because I'm flared and I'm tired and I get goofy. But I hope you'll have a great night. I will be back Friday. I had to think about that. I will be back Friday at 7-ish Central. Yeah. Anyway, you guys take care. I'll see you then. You have any questions, please drop me a line on Twitter. I don't know if you can because my account's protected and that's a long story. But Twitter's the only place I hang out on social media. You could drop me a line on YouTube and I should get it. I should get the message. Anyway, yeah, I guess I need to figure out exactly how people can reach out to me because that's really crappy for me to say, yes, reach out if you need me. But you know what? If you want to reach me bad enough, you'll figure it out. And I don't mean that in a dismissive, snotty way. It's just a fact. We figure out things that are really important to us. So anyway, I am rambling.